Hello, I'm Sophia Lou and welcome to my channel.
Hello guys and welcome to my university sketchbook tour. These sketchbooks are from my first 2 years at university. For some reason I can't find my third years, I've got them around somewhere. But all the sketchbook stuff that's in here are development, notes and all the stuff that I did while I was at university. I don't have a lot of the final pieces in here, but if you would like me to do a separate video showing a lot of my third year work, please let me know in the comments down below. This was actually voted by you guys and a few of you were quite interested in my topic of what I did while I was at uni. So I attended university in 2009 to 2012. I graduated with a 2-1. I was third mark for first, and to this day I'm still pretty salty about it, but I can understand from now as to why I did not get a first and what I could have done to improve my work back then. So the sketchbooks you are seeing here are from my first years at university, and a lot of the stuff, actually looking back on it, I thought I was doing great. I thought I was learning everything that I needed to learn and doing exactly what my tutors were telling me to do. But looking back at these sketchbooks, I can see that I did not diversify myself enough. One thing we were taught at university really was more the aspect of kind of like how you could get your work to work in the industry. So a lot of the stuff that we were talking about was commercialism, children's books, we were talking about storyboarding. I did animation because I studied animation and illustration, and it was a lot of showing like our progress towards that. And looking back through my sketchbooks, I can see where I started to develop a style, and I can see where I started to develop fun and interesting ideas, and I kind of wish I'd experimented it a bit more. Looking back at university, there is a lot that I could have done to really shake things up and really improve, and one of them was I could have experimented so much more. I was so obsessed with anime and manga, and I was consistently saying I will be this manga artist, that I didn't really explore much the other side of illustration. I was still trying to find my style. I was still trying to find what I wanted to do, and it was very difficult for me to turn around and say this is what I want to do, because back then I was 18, 19. I did not know what I want to do. Now I know that I want to be a children's book illustrator. I know that I want to be a comic book artist. I know that there is certain styles that my work now really suits. But I can really see where my faults lied at university. And as much as my tutors had told me this, I think if I was to redo the whole thing now, knowing what I know now, I imagine like my entire thing would be completely different. You've got to remember, when I first started university, I had no knowledge of computers. I had never used a drawing tablet before. Everything I'd done was mainly line work. I had never really explored much at this point because I was still trying to find my style. I was still trying to find X, Y, and Z. So when people say that, oh, you need to know what you want to do by now, it's very difficult for you to do that, because I find that at this age, at this time, you don't know what you want to do. I can see where things were starting to get to the point of this is definitely what I want to do, and I could see areas of improvement that I made and what I could definitely go back and change. If I was to go back and if I was to tell myself at university, I would literally be like, look, character design and this, that and the other it's all very good, but you need to explore so much more. There's so much I could have done and so much that I could have explored that I just know that my work would be better off for it. Now, if, 19, 20-year-old me had, instead of concentrating on drawing anime characters, done a lot more study work, done a lot more life drawing, a lot more this, that, the other, I feel like I would have benefited a lot more from it. Now, I can definitely see where my influences started and how much art was starting to influence me and my style, but my studying, I didn't do enough studying, and I really want to shake myself back then, because my work could be so much better now if I'd learned back then. There's still stuff in these books and still stuff from my university work that I look back and go, I did an amazing job there, I am so proud of myself. Or I look back and go, I can see where things started to fall into place. And my first 2 years of university was so anime based that I'd never really branched away from that, and I felt like my work suffered at university because of that. And that's not to say that my work was bad, because looking back through these sketchbooks, some of the stuff I've got is brilliant. For example, one of these modules here, we were doing zodiacs, and I decided that I wanted to do the zodiacs in a circus theme. And I just look back at that and go, that's such a great idea. But looking at my sketches and what I did, I could have done so much more. I actually kind of want to revisit these pieces. Let me know what you guys think. Like, do you want to see some of these pieces being revisited? Because I really like the idea of the Gemini twins and the Ringmaster Taurus and the Scorpio Lion. There's just so many different things in here that I really liked the aspect of. But now looking at them, I can develop them so much more. Also, for some reason, I just really prefer to sketch super lightly, and looking back through these sketchbooks, I wish I'd just sketched harder. So a little bit of backstory. When I went to university, my only art experience that I had was drawing for myself, and when I was at school and not college. I was meant to do a art A level, but unfortunately that course fell through because there wasn't enough people and funding for the course to go ahead. So I never ended up doing an art A level, and I think if I had done that, my work would be completely different now. So for those who are going to ask me, was university worth it? Definitely. For me, it was definitely worth it, because at the time I had no direction in where I wanted to go. I knew I wanted to do illustration, and I knew I wanted to do comic book work, but I didn't know the first place to start. And it was only really in my third year that everything cemented into place what I really wanted to do, and I could see myself growing in certain things. But yet again, my style, my work wasn't at where I needed to be. There is stuff I can see that I was definitely stretching myself with, but a lot of it's just character work. There is hardly any background work in here, and I really think my work could benefit from that now. And I don't know, I wish I had more experience with digital work, because I didn't have much experience with digital work, and I was learning so much while I was at university that when I came out, half of my work, pretty much most of my work, was digital then. And before I went to university, I very rarely experimented with colour because I was so afraid of colour, but I really loved my line work. I don't know, there's different aspects I wish that I'd changed. I can see in this sketchbook in particular where I was really starting to branch out and try something different, like doing the cutesy children books characters and the stuff that was being developed. I was kind of happy with where this was going. I was experimenting so much more here, but then I stopped, and I don't know, I kind of want to go back and kick myself and go, no, you should have been doing this, because your work would benefit so much more from this now. Especially the paper cutout stuff. I do a bit of that now, every now and again. I have a sketchbook that I'm doing that in, and it's one of the coolest things I've done because it's just so different from what I'm doing currently. I don't know, I mean, to me, university, as well as a place to refine your skill, it's a place to experiment, especially within your first year, because most of your first year grades don't count towards your final grade. So if you are thinking of going to university and you are thinking of what courses you want to do in this, that and the other, and you are thinking of doing an illustration course, do not be afraid to experiment and really branch out. Make sure to do your research, make sure to try out lots of different things. Even if you are really interested in doing an anime and manga style or a cartoony style or anything among those different planes, it would really benefit from you to branch out and experiment, because it would really help you develop your style and develop your work in the future. So I would also say as well, at the end of university, I was still drawing in a fairly anime and manga style, but slowly developing more to what I do today. And even if you look back on my YouTube videos from 2 years ago, my style has changed since then. And you've got to remember, at university, yes, this is a grade, yes, this is what you're doing, but you're going to develop and you're going to improve from then. And there's lots of stuff that I look back on and I go, I wish I'd done more of this. And one of the things I really do like, especially with the Alice in Wonderland pieces that I've just gone, is I like how simple it is. It's just line art and colour, and that's all it is, and it just works so well. And I'd wish I'd done more with that. There's just so much I look back on and go, why did I not do more of this? And if I was to go back and tell myself at university, look, this is what you need to do, this is what you need to do to branch out to make your work better, I wish I'd done a lot more comic work. I had a lot of comic stuff in progress, but I never published it. I had a lot of stuff that I wanted to work on, projects to work on. Like now, these days, I have so many projects I want to work on, but I just don't work on them. And it's frustrating to see that, because right now, currently, I don't have time, but I could have done so much more at university. I think my style really started to develop when I started doing the flat illustrations, the lineless illustrations, and the children's storybook stuff. And if you guys want to see that, please let me know in the comment section down below, because I have all my final university stuff. I don't actually have a lot of access to all my old animation stuff, because unfortunately my computer broke and the backup drive, which is for the Mac, isn't compatible with the PC, so it just does not work. But I do have a lot of printouts of what I used at my university degree show and other bits and pieces like that. So what my moral to this story is, if you're going to university, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to experiment, try out different things, and really push yourself. Because the first year should be all about you experimenting and trying different things and learning to branch out from what you want to do. Don't be afraid to experiment, and don't be afraid to do things that you would not normally do. I think it's so interesting to see your style develop and to see you as an artist improve. I hope looking through these university sketchbooks has given some of you guys hope, because you've got to remember, some of this work is 7, 8 years old. So I have improved since then, and my digital colouring definitely did improve. And my traditional colouring definitely did improve, and I feel like I've gotten better at a lot of things. I've gotten better at composition, I've gotten better at character design and this, that and the other, but I wish I could literally just shake myself and say, look, this is what you need to do to improve for the future, and I think it would really help me today. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and hope you guys have enjoyed my university sketchbook tour. If you have any questions about university, please let me know. I think if you did want to see the year 3 stuff, I think I would talk about the topic of fine art versus illustration. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Maybe like, comment, subscribe. If you wish to see more content, let me know what kind of sketchbook you'd like to see next. But as always, folks, stay creative.